Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We'll chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We'll chant from verses 68 to 72 of chapter 2. Tasmadhyasya mahabaho,
Tasmadhyasya mahabaho,
nigrihitani sarvashah,
nigrihitani sarvashah,
indriyanindriyarthebhyah,
indriyanindriyarthebhyah,
tasya prajna pratisthita,
tasya prajna pratisthita,
ya nisha sarvabhutanam,
ya nisha sarvabhutanam,
tasyam jagati sanyami,
tasyam jagarti sanyami,
yasyam jagrati bhutani,
yasyam jagrati bhutani,
sa nisha pashyato muneः,
sa nisha pashyato muneः,
आपूर्यमाणमचल pratishtham,
आपूर्यमाणमचल प्रतिष्ठम्,
samudramapah pravishanti yadvat,
समुद्रमापः प्रविशन्ति यद्वत्,
tadvat कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे,
तद्वत् कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे,
स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी,
स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी,
विहाय कामान् यः सर्वान्,
विहाय कामान्यः सर्वान्,
पुमांश्चरति निःस्पृहः,
पुमांश्चरति निःस्पृहः,
निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः,
निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः,
स शान्तिमधिगच्छति,
स स शान्तिमधिगच्छति.
एषा ब्राह्मी स्थितिः पार्थ
एषा ब्राह्मी स्थितिः पार्थ
नैनां प्राप्य विमुह्यति
नैनां प्राप्य विमुह्यति.
स्थित्वा स्यामन्तकालेऽपि
स्थित्वा स्यामन्तकालेऽपि
ब्रह्मनिर्वाणमृच्छति
ब्रह्मनिर्वाणमृच्छति.
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So we are doing this portion of chapter 2, which deals with the Sthita Prajna, the person who is firmly established in the higher wisdom, one who is enlightened. Now, as I have told you, enlightenment is not something to be achieved outside you. It is a process of inner transformation. No doubt the highest experience comes in a flash, but the process of transformation happens gradually. So it is very important for you to understand this principle of gradual transformation. I've always found that sadhaks slip into one of the two extremes. Either they pick up a few principles and they become too harsh on themselves. They want to practice it immediately. They judge themselves if they are unable to live up to the artificial, impractical standards which they themselves have kept for themselves. And they get burnt out, they stop all the sadhana after a while. This is one extreme. The other extreme is when we say things happen gradually, you'll have to slowly move. So there are some sadhaks who slip into tamas, laziness, and there also after a while they stop putting in efforts. Because when things happen gradually, if you skip, let us say, a sadhana for 1 day or 2 days, now it is not going to cause an immediate imbalance, but in the long run that is going to have an impact. Just as if you, let us say, you don't do your daily exercises, it's not going to have an immediate impact, but it's very important. It's very vital for you to do that. Usually things which have a long-term impact will not create an immediate imbalance when not done. And that is exactly the reason why you don't get to do it. You see, all the sattvic habits, all the good things will usually give long-term benefits. So since they give long-term benefits, now you tend to avoid it today, because even when you avoid it, you don't feel as if you've lost much. The imbalance or the negative effects is not immediate. If only good things in life also gave immediate effects, whether you follow them or not, then actually we don't need this philosophy at all. Our minds will automatically gravitate towards that. Since that is not how it has been designed in nature, you require this wisdom. So as a sadhak, you should be careful not to slip into these extremes. As you are gaining this wisdom, when we talk of gaining mastery over your emotions, then thoughts, so many facets are being given. Now, they are not saying you should now start following everything 100% from this moment onwards. That is a highly unrealistic goal, an unrealistic expectation. No guru will have such an expectation. So you have your entire life to master these principles. Your life is like the laboratory. When you gain the theory and then you go to the laboratory and practice, and that's how you gain mastery in any science. So spirituality is the inner science. So every Sunday you're getting all the inputs and you have your whole life as a laboratory where you need to practice these things, and slowly you will find the transformation happening within you. So don't be too harsh on yourself in spite of attending the session, in spite of doing the sadhana for a while, in case you lose your balance here and there. Supposing one particular emotion comes and overpowers you, immediately don't feel, all the sadhana which I've done, it has gone waste. You will unnecessarily develop guilt. And guilt is another major block when it comes to the spiritual progress. So don't be too harsh on yourself. Consider yourself as just a normal person. See, a sadhak means it's not that he considers himself or herself as anyone special. You should just feel normal and start acquiring this wisdom and take it like a game. This is the game of life. How do we perfect ourselves? How do we mature ourselves in and through the various experiences of life? There is a person who has sent a mail saying that somebody near and dear in his family had passed away, and he said, since as a family we are gaining this wisdom, I put a rule that nobody should cry. None of the family members should cry. Now I want to give this person this message that is being too harsh on yourself and the other family members. Just because you are attending this doesn't mean you should not cry. See, the joy, sorrow, anger, fear, all the emotions, whether negative or positive, they are all natural. As a human being, you are bound to have these emotions. So where does this wisdom come in? Not to say that no, you should always be unswayed by this. Yes, that is the highest state. But they are not expecting you to follow it straight away. They are giving that highest ideal in front of you, so that you start moving towards that. Once you keep that state of perfection as your goal, you will never stop your sadhana. You will always be a sishya, nitya sishya. You will be an eternal student, constantly striving and putting in effort to perfect yourself. But in the name of this ancient wisdom, in the name of spirituality, if you cut off all the emotions, then that will cause a lot of suppression and frustration in the long run. You have to be careful. So, to feel these emotions is not wrong. If someone near and dear has passed away, you will feel the sorrow, you will cry. That's perfectly fine. But this wisdom helps you to release whatever emotions, negative emotions which may surface within yourself, instead of forming impressions within you. See, this has been so beautifully demonstrated in the Puranic incidents. Even if you take the Ramayana, Lord Rama went through all the ups and downs of life, the joys and sorrows of life. One day he was in the palace, next day he was sent to the forest. When he was in the forest, his father passed away. And it is said in the Ramayana that Rama felt that sorrow, he cried. And then when Sita was abducted by Ravana, Lord Rama went through intense sorrow. It is there. He had so much of emotions that even when he was fighting Ravana, he gave him an opportunity to change. When he defeated Ravana, he didn't kill him straight away the first day. He said, you go back and you think in the night, through the night, and tomorrow if you come and say sorry and you give back Sita, that's it. The war will end. So he went through all the ups and downs, the joys and sorrows of life without resisting them. But he had this ability to not allow these emotions to form impressions in the deeper layers of the mind. See, when you experience something, whether it's joy or sorrow, what happens is, after that, that forms an impression, especially the negative experiences of life. Once an impression is formed, then it becomes a karma. Actually, our yogis have calculated how long it takes for the memory of an incident. It's not merely the memory, but the emotions attached to it, how involved you were, how long it takes to pass through the various layers of your personality and then settle down as a karma. They say in the first 7 seconds, it goes to the first layer of the mind. Then 7 minutes, it goes to the second layer of the mind. Then 7 hours, it goes to the third layer. Like that, it keeps moving. And the deeper it goes inside your mind, it forms an impression, a psychic impression or karma. You can use any word you want as long as you understand the concept. So now, if you go through life and if you indulge, if you have no other higher purpose in life, then you will go on gathering these impressions. And these impressions after a while will start controlling your behavior. This is what they call as the karmic cycle. Now, if in the hope of not forming an impression, if you don't live your life fully, if you don't complete your experiences, you withdraw artificially, then also you will form impressions. You will not be able to exhaust your karmas. It is a very, very subtle principle. It takes a while for you to get a hang of it and then, of course, master it. But once you master it, you'll know exactly how to conduct yourself so that no impressions are formed. So to this person who has sent the mail, I have told nobody should cry. Now that can cause a lot of suppression, and that can actually increase the sorrow deep within you, and it can increase the impressions. You have to be very careful. If you just merely cry, and if you are constantly thinking about the negative incident, that can also increase your impressions. That is where the sadhana comes. How do you experience life, whether it is joy or sorrow, how to live a full life, and at the same time not form any impressions. Rather, you exhaust whatever impressions you have stored within yourself, whatever karmas which you have stored within yourself. I gave you the one technique, some time back. There are many aspects to the sadhana, but if you remember, I had given this technique of deep breathing through the nose and then breathing out through the mouth. Inhale and then exhale. So that can be practiced when a negative experience is so overpowering. So allow the emotions to come and just keep doing the deep breathing. Get connected with the Guru Shakti, get connected with the higher Shakti. If you're directly unable to get connected with the higher Shakti, the Guru Shakti can give you that connection. And then when you do the deep breathing, that will ensure that you experience the emotion, and at the same time you release the emotion rather than that going within and forming an impression. That is called living a full life. The meaning of charati is that. Charati is not an ordinary word. Even though it looks very ordinary, superficially, if you go deep into it, that contains the entire principle of spiritual evolution. So charati means living your life fully without forming any impression, and also throwing out whatever impressions which you have already stored within you. It is only when you do your daily sadhana, and only when, on a regular basis, like every week, when you gain this ancient wisdom, that you will get the necessary strength and skill to be able to practice this charati. So when I said last week that charati means living your life fully, that can be mistaken to be indulgence. You need to be careful. If you merely go through your life, you will only go on gathering more and more impressions, karmas. If you suppress yourself, if you withdraw from life, that will also increase your impressions. It will not give you are not giving yourself an opportunity to complete your experiences and resolve the issues. So the beautiful word charati has been used, which has so many dimensions. So carefully absorb each and every dimension of this charati and start practicing them. So last week I had given you 2 dimensions of charati. Actually there are 4. One was separate, and then 3 more dimensions I clubbed them together to give it as one dimension. So the first dimension was enjoyment. So charati means to graze, to eat, to consume. So unless and until you enjoy your life, you will not complete the experience. Again, I am putting the word of caution. Enjoyment doesn't mean becoming a let loose and indulging. In indulgence, you will not enjoy actually. You will only get excited. See, in order to enjoy an experience, your mind has to be calm. Your intellect has to be fully aware to register the full experience. When you are indulging, when you are in the mode of indulgence, your mind will be highly excited. When you are in an excited frame of mind, you will not register the full experience. Invariably, you will go through the experience, but you, instead of completing the experience, you will only keep increasing your desire, for happiness more and more. See, when does your desire for happiness increase? When does the desire for any object increase? If you think about it. When you don't have that object, the farther away you move from something, that is when your desire for it will increase. If you are already experiencing happiness, if your happiness is increasing day by day, then your desire for happiness will reduce, because you are already happy. A Sthita Prajna has no desire to be happy, no desire to be peaceful, because he already has it. So when you indulge in life, what happens is you are moving away from happiness. So this is going to give you a sense of incompleteness. Instead of completing the experiences, you will go on increasing the feeling of vacuum, the feeling of lacuna within you. So enjoyment here means having a calm mind, having a full intellectual awareness, and going through the experiences and registering them fully, experiencing them fully, consciously, in a detached way. So the moment I say detachment, again you will mistake it as no emotion. It is not that you don't have emotion. See, detachment means you don't allow the emotion to form an impression in the deeper layers of your mind. That's all. But you go through the experience fully. So this is the first dimension, which is very, very powerful. See, each dimension of charity actually helps you to exhaust your karmas, to complete your experiences. That is why I am taking this in such detail. Otherwise, we are not merely interested in achieving worldly success per se. It is the highest goal which we are interested in. And as we are moving along, we also experience worldly success. We increase the chances of becoming more successful in life, because that helps you to complete your experiences. So this is the first dimension. The second dimension, which I explained to you last week, practicing, performing and observing. 3 dimensions put together. So I told you, each one of you will be having some talent. It could be one talent, or it could be more than one talent. Now you need to identify your talents and develop your skills in that field. Just because you are talented in something doesn't mean you have skill in that. If you want to develop skill in anything, you need to follow this dimension. Pick up that skill. Practice consistently. The more you practice, the more you will perfect an art. And then perform. Perform means wherever you need to apply it, in your life, you have to apply that. And then observation. Observation is a quality which you need to develop if you want to become a yogi. See, a yogi is one who is an acute observer. Actually, if you take the principle of observing to 100%, it is enlightenment, because the supreme reality is in a state of sakshi. Sakshi means being a witness. That is the highest level. But now I am giving you from the sadhana point of view. So from where do you start? First, observe others who are good in that skill which you are trying to master, and learn the good things from them. If you have the feeling that I know everything, you will never grow. I find this trend, especially among youngsters, without mastering the skill of doing business, they become entrepreneurs. Just because you read somewhere, somebody says that I was working somewhere, I just resigned the job one fine day and I started this business. Today I've become a billionaire. They put a YouTube video or somewhere they release this information. You just read that, and immediately the mind likes that concept, because externally it looks like, oh, he resigned the routine work, 9 to 5 work, and then he has, all the stress is gone. Now he started something on his own, he has become a multimillionaire. It's not so simple like that. If you go deeper into these kinds of articles or videos, and if you talk to that person, he or she would have practiced all this. Even I think it was last year or 2-3 years back, one of the most successful professional, he was a CEO of a very big corporation. Now in his interview, he said, they asked him, how did you come to this level? He said, right from day one, I always used to work with a team where the others were better than me. So immediately the interviewer asked him, but did it not bring down your confidence? He said, no. It actually increased my confidence, because when you are always moving with people who are better than you, then you constantly keep learning. So in that process of learning from them, my skills automatically started improving. And the amazing thing is, he says, I practice this even today. Just because I've become a CEO doesn't mean I've stopped learning. So unconsciously he is practicing this dimension of charity. That is why he has moved to that level. So don't get into some activity like business, or it could be anything else, and then stop learning. Then you cannot succeed in that field. At some point, your flaws will be exposed. Whatever your level is will be exposed. So practicing, performing and observing, these are 3 key facets in mastering any skill. What will prevent you? See, when it comes to enjoyment, we saw, it is a tamas which will prevent you. Now, when it comes to mastering a skill, why is it that you don't want to observe? Of course, if you don't want to practice something, that is because of laziness. But when it comes to observation, why is it that you don't want to observe and learn? Because of a complex. When the ego takes over, now you develop a complex. You feel that by learning from someone, you are exhibiting your ignorance. So you're afraid that you will be looked down upon by others. But actually, a person who goes on learning, a person who goes on mastering his or her skills will be looked up by others. Not that that person wants them to look up to them, but that happens naturally. So, in order to practice the second dimension, you will have to overcome your complexes. You should be willing to exhibit your ignorance. Unless and until you say, I don't know, you cannot learn something. And even if you know something, there will always be some portion which you don't know. So you should have that courage to say, I don't know in that area, observe and learn. Observing is a very powerful capacity which you have. Why I'm saying you already have it is, as a baby, you are constantly observing things. Do you know, they say that whatever a baby learns in the first year is around 99%, I believe. The rest of the life, what the baby learns is only 1% of its learnings. Because every little thing from the basics, the baby has to learn how to sit, how to hold the head, because the head will be shaking, So how to balance the neck, how to sit, how to move around, everything, what is hard, what is soft in terms of surfaces, the colors, the behavior, emotion, understanding others, every little thing the baby has to learn. So you've already practiced that. How did you learn when you were a baby? You just kept observing. How did you learn a language when you were a baby? Not that you read any books. You just observed what others were speaking to you. You absorbed all that, and then one day you started speaking. And then thereafter you may have taken time to perfect it. But the main thing is observation. Why? Because as a baby, you don't have any ego. The baby doesn't feel shy to exhibit its ignorance. But as you grow old, as you age, you tend to develop a very strong ego, and that will prevent you from practicing this dimension. So when you master a skill, when you practice, perform and observe and master a skill, what are you doing to yourself internally? You're actually training your mind. You're training your mind to focus. You're training your mind to become very sharp, your intellect to become very sharp. You're training your mind to absorb. You're also tackling your ego. So all these will help you evolve spiritually. They will help you to become a sthita prajna. That is why he's saying charati. This dimension is being emphasized upon. So these are the first two dimensions. Then the third dimension of charati. Charati means act. Again, there are two dimensions here which I am joining together to put it as one dimension. It will make it easy for you. Charati means number one, act. It also means behave towards someone or something. Behaving towards someone means responding. Why are we seeing both these facets? Now in life, sometimes you need to initiate actions by yourself. Sometimes you need to respond to situations or to people. So a sthita prajna is one who has mastered both these facets. See, generally, where you need to initiate action, you don't initiate action. Especially in the name of spirituality, I find that people don't initiate activities. And then they say, we hope that God will give us the best. See, God is not a person who is sitting somewhere and deciding what you should get and what you should not get. God is that supreme power, that energy, which just fulfills and gives you the results of whatever efforts you are putting in. If you water a plant, now the plant is going to grow. If you don't water the plant, now that is not going to grow. If you cut out all the weeds and if you make your garden neat, your garden will look so beautiful. If you don't do that, the garden will not look beautiful. If you eat the right type of food, now you will absorb the nutrition and you will become healthy. That supreme power enables all these to happen. So you need to have this clarity where you should initiate actions. Number one. Number two, you also need to have the clarity about responding to situations and people. What is the best response I can give in any given situation? Generally, the mind gets so agitated and stressed that there is no gap between the experience and you. You tend to just be, as in the management jargon they say, reactive they say. You just, your response is automatic. If a person insults you, immediately respond in a particular way. If a person praises you, again you respond in a particular way. You seem to have no control because you have not trained your mind. You have not trained yourself with this wisdom. So if you want to become a Sthita Prajna, now the action here means initiating action on your own, and then response, behaving towards means response. So we'll call it action response mechanism, that you need to perfect. So if you want to achieve something in life, you need to initiate a series of actions. You can't just simply wait for others to do things for you. And then in the process of in the process of your efforts, you also need to respond to various situations, various people. When I say various people, the emotions which they are throwing to you. That is what we technically call as relationships, no? The way you respond to other people's emotions will determine what kind of relationship you will have with the other person, the other people. So what we do in spirituality is, irrespective of what emotions others have, we try to perfect our responses to their emotions. See, if you say, I'll be happy only if others come and praise me, for example, or others are very respectful towards me. Now, invariably, you will find someone who will be rude to you. At that time, you will lose all your peace. So that is why in the ancient wisdom, they say first develop this clarity. What another person gives you in terms of emotions, behavior and all that is not under your control. Sometimes those emotions, behavior may be very nice. Then you absorb that. Sometimes they may not be so good. But what is under your control is your response to those emotions. So they are asking you to work on that. So it is a beautiful dimension of charity, the action response mechanism. So from this moment onwards, now bring more awareness. Where all do you need to initiate action, where you are not initiating? You're just waiting for things to happen. Where all are you not responding properly. That is where the response is not under your control. Through sadhana, start deciding what responses you need to give back. See, this dimension of charity actually gives you so much of power. So when you write down your goals, this is assuming you're writing down your goals. In almost every empowerment program, I keep saying, write your goals, because when you write, things get clarified within also. So most people don't have goals. So you should first fix clear-cut goals and then start writing them. Start absorbing them. Writing is one way, one effective way of absorbing the goal into your system. So when you fix goals for yourself, now generally people fix goals and then they don't do anything about the goals. No, you need to initiate a series of actions. Now you need to decide what action should I initiate. It is a beautiful quality. See, elsewhere, as a sattvic quality, he will say not starting any action. When we come there, I'll explain that in detail. That may look contradictory, but it's actually not contradictory. There he's talking of a higher principle where he's talking more about the ego. See, initiating action is one thing, but if you start getting an ego that I've only started everything, then that will unnecessarily take you away from the divine center. So he's talking about dropping the egoistic feeling that I have started. But here we are talking of externally initiating actions. It could be one action or it could be a series of actions which you plan in order to achieve a particular goal. This is very important. And in the process, the responses, see, this is a lifetime practice. And as I told you, take it as a game. Don't think that from this moment onwards, every response should be 100% perfect. You will make mistakes, and it is through mistakes that we go on learning. Ensure, see, I'll also tell you what are the blocks which you will face. When it comes to initiating actions, it's a hesitation and tamas again, which will prevent you. When it comes to effective responses, one of the key factors which will that is one of the blocks which you need to overcome is the guilt which you form when you make a mistake. See, when you respond in a wrong way, let us say you shout at someone, and now after that, that is going to form a deep impression within your mind, and that will cause a lot of guilt. Now once you develop that guilt, you will feel so bad about what you've done that you will no longer respond naturally. You will stop off all your responses. That is what in psychology they call as freezing, the mind freeze, they call it. The mind just freezes. So you have to be careful there. You need to overcome that block. So if you make a mistake, no issues, see what you have done. Now how do you perfect that? Do the sadhana, release whatever guilt may be associated with that mistake, and get into the situation again and respond better. It is only by practicing this that slowly you will develop your personality. So if you see a sthita prajna, any yogi, his responses will not go beyond his control. Every response which he does, even as I mentioned to you earlier, sometimes a sthita prajna may respond in a stern way. It may look like anger. If you see the Puranic incidents, you will find that Lord Narayana got angry. Lord Shiva got angry. The very embodiment of Rudra, is anger. Because that force was required to destroy unrighteousness. But nothing went out of his control. Deep within him, he was always centered. Lord Rama went through the joy, the sorrow, anger, every emotion. But the response was always well within his control. So you will be very surprised. I would request you to do this sadhana today. This is a sadhana tip, this third dimension. Just observe. First, with respect to action, you have so many goals in life, you want to achieve so many things in life. Are you initiating actions properly where it is required? Or are you just merely complaining? I told you, either you will be a complainer or a dreamer, or daydreamer, no? So a person who complains always says, that person didn't help me, I didn't get this support from here, there. See, don't wait for others to support you. One youngster, long back, he came and told me, "Sir, my friend is born in a very rich family. So he has inherited a lot of wealth. His parents have given him 2-3 houses and all that. Whereas my parents haven't given anything to me." I said, with this attitude, you will never succeed. And if your friend also has an ego over the wealth he has inherited due to his past karmas, now that will go away after a while. You need to consistently follow the basic principles. What do you mean your parents haven't given you wealth? They have given you this human birth. That is more than enough. As a human being, you have the capacity to achieve anything which you want. You have the choice of action. So you should be eternally grateful to your parents. This is a message I am giving to all the youngsters. Don't get into that mode of complaining when it comes to response. See, find out, are your responses always complaints, or are you finding faults with others, or are you responding in a negative way? These are all various examples of negative responses. So if they are negative, first correct them. Develop gratitude in life. Gratitude is a wonderful response. Now you may ask me, "Sir, if a person is nice to me, okay, I am grateful, I can be grateful to him. And supposing a man is very rude to me, then what is there to be grateful?" There is so much to be grateful about, because when that person is rude to you, that is the test, no? That is where you are able to practice this wisdom and come out more strong. Just imagine, if everyone is nice to you, if there are no challenges in life, then there will be no growth at all. It is only the tough circumstances which make a person strong. So a yogi is very grateful to the positive experiences in life, because they also teach something. And a yogi is equally grateful to all the negative experiences in life, because the negative experiences actually also teach him something. They make him more strong internally. So if you choose to respond positively, you can respond positively to everything which is being thrown towards you in life. Like one sadhak sent me a beautiful mail. She, last year, she tested COVID positive. And that time the lockdown rules were there, and quarantine rules were more strict. And so she had to, this was in the initial stages when the COVID had just started coming. So a 14-day quarantine was a must for her. So she sent a beautiful mail saying that I'm so thankful to God because in my pressure in the work situation is causing so much of pressure that now I'm going to quarantine myself. As you have said in your lecture, sir, I'm not going to consider this as a quarantine. Rather, it is a period of solitude for me. So I'm going to catch up with my sadhana. So she did the 10-day healing course during that quarantine period. She intensified the sadhana. She said, I'm going to utilize this period to shed off all my stress, that extra luggage which I am carrying, and to release as many impressions as possible and do the sadhana and become more positive and strong in life. Beautiful mail she had written. So it's the same experience. How you respond to it, that is in your hands. So as aspiring yogis, you should master this dimension. Charati means action, initiation of action, and it also means a response. Responding to situations, responding to people. So when you respond to situations, that is one thing. When you respond to people, you're responding to their behavior, to their emotions, because behavior is nothing but an expression of the other person's feelings, emotions only. So you learn to relate with people. See, when Krishna faced enemies, it is said, see, when he killed Kamsa, relationship-wise, he was his enemy. But when he killed Kamsa, it is mentioned in the Bhagavatam that with infinite love, he released Kamsa from this samsara and gave him moksha, gave him liberation. The emphasis there is not whether Kamsa was his enemy or his friend. The emphasis was on the unconditional love which he had. So he was not punishing Kamsa, he was only correcting him. It is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. God does two things. If you are on the right path, He will encourage you. He means what? That supreme power, that God principle will encourage you. And if you make a mistake, God never punishes. That's a wrong concept which people have. It is mentioned in the Bhagavatam that God corrects you. The so-called punishment, so-called challenges are only ways by which you can correct yourself, to put you back on track. So as you expand as a human being, as you do the sadhana of Puman and you expand yourself, you also start responding with the unconditional love towards every aspect of life, towards everyone in life. Enemy, friend, all these are only superficial, external names which we give for relationships. So whether the other person is negative or positive towards you, I'm repeating myself, that is not under your control. But how you can respond, what you can give back to them, that is well within your control. And whatever you are giving back to them, that is going to determine your spiritual growth. It is not what you receive in life that will determine how high you will grow in spirituality. It is what you give back which is going to determine how far you will move up in the ladder of spiritual growth. It is in your hands only. So, charati, one who moves about, one who initiates actions, either one action or a series of actions to achieve something, wherever it's required, and one who responds according to his own terms, not according to the other person's terms. See, if another person insults you, and you get affected. Now that person has started taking control over you. That person has started controlling your mind, your reactions, your responses. Then you're losing all your power. But this ancient wisdom is there to make you more powerful. So do that small exercise today. Just check your life, check the various aspects of life. Am I initiating one action or a series of actions required to achieve whatever I want to achieve? One hand. This is on one hand. On the other hand, am I responding to my satisfaction? Wherever, it is not up to the mark, it is not up to your satisfaction, make a note of that. Do your sadhana, gain the inner strength, release whatever guilt may be stored within you. Release those negative blocks which may not be allowing you to respond in the way you want to respond. And practice this. Decide what response I should give. And start giving that response. As I told you, you may not be successful 100% in the first attempt itself, but practice makes a person perfect. So this is the third dimension. Initiation of action and responding to your satisfaction. And the more you do that, the more shanti you will experience, the more peaceful you will become. Remember, the whole theme is shanti only, that peace. So the various factors which will not give you peace, should be avoided. And the various things which will give you peace should be absorbed and practiced. Then, the fourth dimension of charity. Charity means being engaged in something. That is, being busy with something, being engaged. When a person is engaged in doing something, when a person is very busy in doing something, that is called charity. Now, what does this dimension represent? See, being busy can be of two types. He is referring, one way is just being busy for nothing, being very unproductive in life. You can also be very busy doing what you ought to do in life, doing all your obligatory duties. In the third chapter, he is going to expand this aspect of charity, and he is going to talk so much about the niyatam karma. Niyatam karma means that karma, that act, those activities which you ought to do in life, the duties and responsibilities. So you should engage yourself in fulfilling all your duties and obligations in life. I told you before we are coming to the third chapter, I am also preparing you with these concepts. So by the time we come to the third chapter, and again in every verse when we use the yogic approach and go deep into those verses and see the subtle points, it will become very easy for you to absorb and practice with this base which we are building here itself. So you find out today, how do you spend your time? See, we talk of time management, mastery over time. Even many corporates have invited me to conduct seminars on time mastery. Now, how effectively are you using your time depends on What are you busy with? See, time is only 24 hours for every day. Being busy, being engaged means it's within that time frame of 24 hours. Now, if you're just busy with unproductive things all the time, then your whole life will be wasted. So you should engage yourself in life in such a way that you are very productive to yourself and you're also productive to others. You should also benefit, others also should benefit. Actually, Lord Buddha, he used to emphasize on this principle when he was talking to his disciples, because externally they all were taking up they were becoming monks. No, they used to take up a particular kind of they used to wear a particular kind of dress, and their external lifestyle was becoming a monk. So the general idea of being a monk or a sannyasi is you don't do anything. One so-called sannyasi, I'm putting it in quotes, in his interview he was saying, he was quoting the great saint Arunagirinadhar, who said Summa Iru. Summa Iru means don't do anything. Arunagirinadhar, when he said Summa Iru, don't do anything, he's not talking of external action. He was talking about the mind. There's many more deeper principles are there. So he took it literally and said, therefore, I have taken up sannyasa. Taken up sannyasa means I have given up everything and I am just sitting doing nothing. Somebody comes and gives me food, I am eating. That is not a life of a sannyasi. A true sannyasi is one who has decided to serve the society. You may wear a particular dress, you may not wear a particular dress. That does not define sannyas. Sannyas means renunciation. Renouncing your selfishness, renouncing your ego is sannyas. So being engaged, being busy with means being very, very productive to yourself and others. So Buddha used to emphasize this point because since there was a wrong notion that being a monk means not doing anything, he wanted to ensure that his students never went into a state of laziness. So he used to tell them, every action, whether you want to take up something or give up something, ask yourself, by doing this, will this be beneficial to me? Will this be beneficial to all others? If the answer is yes, then do it. If the answer is no, then don't do it. This was a very powerful advice which Buddha gave to his students. It's based on the same principle only. So Lord Krishna himself demonstrated that. Lord Krishna was so active, he was busy, he was engaged in something or other, but everything which he did was always for the benefit of humanity. So you find, all the masters, all the yogis are always busy with something or other. Some people may take up external service, the karma yoga. Some people may sit more in meditation. But it's not that they are not doing anything. They are engaged in the meditation so that the healing vibrations are sent to everyone, to the entire humanity, all the time. Some people may engage in one particular activity, some people may engage themselves in another activity, but they are not busy for nothing. They are always very productive. So again in the Karma Yoga portion, he'll be saying, do your duties, but let your goal be Loka Sangraha, means the welfare of the entire Loka, means the welfare of this universe, welfare of the world. It's a very powerful dimension. This can purify you, because the more you engage yourself, you are busy and productive to yourself and productive to others, useful to others, that is going to uplift you spiritually. So supposing right from morning till evening you are busy with activities which are totally unproductive, that will sap your energy. A person who is busy in this way, in the way of karma yoga, now that person will be full of cheer, enthusiasm. That energy will always be there. The prana shakti will be very high in that person. So you can practice this sadhana. That is, this is the next tip I am giving you. You observe, you see 24 hours are there in a day. Now how many hours are you sleeping? If you sleep too much also, then again you're engaging yourself in something which is unproductive. But the right amount of sleep will make you productive. So you just see how much am I sleeping, then how many hours am I engaging myself in exercises, how many hours am I engaging myself in this work. Like this, if you see your schedule, you will get a very good idea whether you're fulfilling all the duties and responsibilities which you have in life. Each one of you have various roles to play. You're a parent, you're a son or daughter to your parent, you may be a student somewhere, you may be a teacher somewhere, you may be working in a company. Whatever it is that you're playing, the role which you're playing, the various duties and responsibilities, you need to engage yourself in fulfilling your duties and responsibilities. It is by doing your duties and responsibilities in a detached way that you can grow spiritually, not by shirking your duties and responsibilities. So this is the fourth dimension of charity. Very, very powerful, isn't it? So we have seen 4 dimensions. If you follow all these dimensions only, you are living a full life. The more you follow these things, you started now living a full life. I have defined what is the spiritual meaning of living a full life. Experiencing life and completing your experiences, knocking off your karmas. That is what is leading a full life, not merely indulging. So leading a full, if you see, your mind will play tricks. It will pick up only that word enjoyment. Oh, life is to enjoy. Yogishri himself has said, all the great Siddhas are saying enjoyment. They are also saying do your duties. So if there is a chance where your mind can slip and pick up only that which is convenient to you, and you may shirk your duties, you have to be very careful. Okay, so we'll stop with that today. I'll take up one question before we do the meditation. So this has been asked by Pradeep ji. Respected Yogishri, I am a regular listener to your online discourses since first lockdown declared in March 2019. It's put this in YouTube section, so I'm not reading the full thing. So practicing affirmation of gratitude every morning just after I wake up, and every night just before going to bed, to Paramatma, to Guru, to parents, to all family and relatives, those already passed away, and all associated social supporters of my growth in life. So I'm practicing this. So but when it comes to gratitude to Guru, your image reflects on my mind every time on autopilot mode. Am I doing something wrong getting your image in my mind? Guruji, without your permission. Should I pay Guru Dakshina like Ekalavya to Guru Dronacharya, learning archery without due permission? Please guide me. Regard your ardent disciple, Pradeep Sahu. So I'll answer this question. I've also received another question. I'm just mentioning what the question is. Somebody else has also asked about this episode between Ekalavya and Drona. Drona asked for the thumb, no, as Guru Dakshina. So is it right or wrong and all that? So I will I will answer both the questions together. First, I will tell you what happened between Ekalavya and Drona and what are the rights and wrongs about that. See, Ekalavya's father was a hunter. So basically he was also a hunter. And he went to Drona and he said, I want to learn archery. Now Drona had dedicated himself to teach the Kurus, the Kuru Vamsha, the princes, not only archery but how to wield all the weapons and all that. So he said no to Ekalavya. Not only that, there was also another reason, practical reason. When he had dedicated himself to the Kuru Vamsha, he had to teach the princes. Now, if he teaches a hunter, and if the hunter becomes very powerful, he can always come and attack the kingdom. So, keeping all this in mind, for various reasons, he said no. Now, what Ekalavya did, he was so passionate about learning archery that he built a statue of Drona, mud statue, and he used to bow down to that statue every day. And then he used to go and hide behind a tree and watch Drona teaching the others, and he learned that art, and then he used to come back and practice. And the story goes that he became a terrific archer. And when Drona, I'm not going through the full incident, I'm just key points. And when Drona came to know about that, he asked him, who is your guru? He said, you're only my guru. He said, but I never taught you. He showed him the statue which he had made. He said, I derive inspiration from that, and every day I watch from behind the tree and I learn. So then Drona said, but you have to, since you learned from me, you have to give me Guru Dakshina. Guru Dakshina means repayment to the Guru. So the student Ekalavya said, whatever you ask, Master, I'll give you. He said, I want you to cut your right thumb and offer it to me. Without a thumb, you cannot wield the bow and arrows. So he asked for the thumb. And the incident is that Ekalavya immediately, without thinking, he cut his right thumb and with all devotion gave it to Drona as his Guru Dakshina. Now this incident is there and there's a lot of criticism. Now I will explain this from both angles, from Ekalavya's angle and from Drona's angle. Now first we will see from Ekalavya's angle. Ekalavya, as a student, he went and approached Dronacharya and he asked him to teach him. Now when Dronacharya refused, whatever be the reasons, that we'll analyze from Dronacharya's angle, but for whatever reasons Drona refused him. Now if he had been truly devoted to Drona, that is, if he had true respect for Dronacharya, he should have respected Drona's decision and he should have approached somebody else to learn archery. But what did Ekalavya do? He didn't stop with merely getting inspiration from Drona. He started hiding behind the tree and watching Drona. He had this quality of observation, incidentally, what all he taught others, and then he went and practiced. This amounts to stealing. So you're stealing the wealth of the other person. The wealth of Drona was his skill, knowledge of archery and other weapons, So he stole that from his guru, literally. That is very bad karma. So Drona, when he asked him for the right thumb, he didn't want Ekalavya to use this art at all, because if the very process by which you're gaining the art, in that itself, if Ekalavya's approach is not straightforward, he is stealing there, then he is capable of using this for negative things. Therefore, he didn't teach him. So, what should have Ekalavya done? He should have respected Drona's decision and gone to someone. So, this is from Ekalavya's angle. Now, from Drona's side, now as a teacher, he should have been impartial. Because even when Karna came and asked him, he refused to teach him. He said, I am teaching only the princess. Then Karna asked him this question, and what about your son Ashwatthama? Your son Ashwatthama is not a prince, but you are teaching him. Actually, Drona got angry there. Of course, Karna also made a mistake by going and lying to Parashurama, his guru, unnecessarily. See, that openness is what will attract the higher grace, So, Drona was not 100% impartial. He was partial when he said no to Ekalavya. That is his first mistake. And second mistake is, okay, that boy, he committed that negative action. Now, he need not have asked him for his right thumb and completely tried to stop that boy. Instead, several other punishments could have been given. Not punishments, but ways by which he could have atoned for that. All that he didn't explore at all. He straight away said, now you should no longer wield a bow. So that was the mistakes which Drona committed. See, Drona was not a perfect person. He was an acharya in terms of he had this knowledge of how to wield weapons. But he was not a Sthitaprajna or something. So the Mahabharata, not only the Mahabharata, if you see the Puranas, they are full of such incidents, controversial incidents, because life itself is like that. See, they are depicting your life. In life, we have very many incidents which are so dicey. Do you act this way or do you act that way? So they have depicted strong characters. Ekalavya was so talented, but he unnecessarily invited trouble for himself by trying to steal the wealth of knowledge from his guru. I am putting again guru in quotes. Similarly, Karna, he went and lied to his guru Parashurama, and he had to face the consequences for that. But at the same time, he served the guru so much. So for that, the guru also blessed him. Parashurama blessed him and said, you will get name and fame, which is what you're looking for in life. Which is true, because Karna became instantly famous. So like this, they have weaved so many characters. If you take Yudhishthira, he was a very nice person, very lovable person, but he had a weakness for dice, and he also had a weakness of following whatever the elders said without questioning, even if what the elders did was wrong. So he had to pay a price for that. So like this, they have depicted various powerful characters and various incidents, and from those incidents we learn what is right, what is wrong, what has to be avoided, what can be picked up. So here in this incident, as a student, what do we pick up? The straightforwardness, frankness. Never lie to your guru. Never try to take something, not only from guru, from anyone, without trying to repay. This is what we should learn. As a teacher, what is the lesson? The guru should be impartial. Whenever you are trying to teach, go by the merits, not by personal likes and dislikes. So like this, if we go into the incidents, each and every incident has, in the Mahabharata and the Puranas, they have something to offer to us, the principles of life. So this is what is this incident. So the person who had sent me the mail asking me whether what Drona did was right or wrong, purely from a teacher's perspective, it was definitely wrong. But the other aspect also you should ask whether what Ekalavya did was right or wrong. Definitely no. Even if Drona had not asked for his thumb, Ekalavya would have faced the consequences of the bad karmas in some way or other in life. That is what you need to understand. Life is always karma. Karma means what we give and what we get back in return. Now, coming to this question which Pradeep ji has asked, you have said that first of all, you're practicing the sadhana of gratitude, affirmation of gratitude every day in the morning, where you say thank you to God, Paramatma, to Guru, to parents and all families, relatives, friends, supporters. It's a beautiful sadhana. I have mentioned this in one of the earlier sessions, and you're practicing that. This is so wonderful. And when it comes to gratitude to Guru, you're saying Yogishri's image reflects in your mind or in autopilot mode. Now, what you're asking is, am I like Ekalavya? Should I ask your permission and then do? See, there is no comparison between this and that. Ekalavya's intentions were wrong. His approach was not straightforward. As I told you, he was hiding behind the tree and learning the art from Drona without his knowledge. How can that be compared to this? See, this is what I'm saying. You're being too harsh on yourself. Your bhavana is so good. Naturally, when you are learning, when you're receiving this ancient wisdom from someone, that person is your guru. It has nothing to do with Yogishri or not Yogishri. It could be anyone. So you're learning everything from that person. So you consider that person as your guru. Now, when you offer gratitude, naturally you will offer gratitude to that person. What is wrong with that? There is no permission which you need to get or anything. You are not stealing something. Your intention is not to harm or to, it is not an indirect approach. See, everything is to do with your bhavana. Rather, your intention is to offer gratitude. That is a very good karma. So, just as you offer gratitude to your parents, oh, I never asked my parents' permission to think about them and give gratitude. You will not say that. So just as they are your physical parents, the guru becomes your spiritual parent. So there is a natural affinity. It is a natural devotion which a sadhak, which a student will have, that is going to fetch him or her a lot of blessings. You will become more and more connected to the master, and you will become more prepared to receive the higher grace as you progress. So don't form an unnecessary guilt over some mistake which you never commit, which you have never committed. This is an unnecessary guilt. And you're saying Yogishri's image comes automatically to your mind. So it is an automatic connection which you're having. So see, what I generally mention is, don't get stuck with the personality of a guru. Your ultimate aim is to get connected with God, and that is the very role of a true guru, to get you connected with divinity, not to merely get attached to, not to merely make the student attached to him. So in that context, I have always maintained that always be grateful to your guru, but don't get stuck there. Your purpose see, why has the Guru come into your life? Only to get you connected to God. So when you get connected to God, you're giving your, you're offering your gratitude to the Guru in the best possible way. So should I give Guru Dakshina on all that you asked? All this is not applicable here at all. Okay, so be very clear, Pradeep ji. No need to form any guilts or mistakes which you have not committed. Don't be so harsh on yourself. You're having such a wonderful bhavana. Just continue with your sadhana. Okay, so now we'll do the meditation. Gently close your eyes. Breathe deeply. With every breath, I am becoming more and more relaxed. Feel the divine vibrations. With every breath, I am going deep into myself. I am not this body. I am not these various emotions. I am not these thoughts. I am the Supreme Divine Self. From this moment onwards, I choose to initiate the various actions necessary to fulfill my goals in life. I choose to respond to situations and to people to my satisfaction. I choose to fulfill all my obligatory duties and responsibilities. I am Swayam Prakashit, self-illuminating. I offer my gratitude to God Supreme. I offer my gratitude to my Guru and all the holy masters. Slowly come back. Wriggle your fingers, your toes. Rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, cheeks, forehead, top of the head, back of the head and neck. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. So today's session was very deep, but at the same time, a lot of practical tips also were given. Practical tips doesn't mean the level has come down. If you really go into each of these dimensions, they are very, very deep, So start practicing. First, reflect on these dimensions which are being given to you. And start practicing the sadhana of charity, leading a full life, exhausting all your karmas and fulfilling the ultimate purpose, that is to become one with divinity. That is what you have taken this birth for. So use this wonderful opportunity to fulfill that ultimate purpose in life. Okay? So thank you very much. See you in the next session. Hari Om.